Hey, this is Kevin Kelly, and you are listening to the Stardom Cast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Stardom Cast, a podcast we talk all things about the fantastic, amazing, and spectacular professional wrestling company that is Stardom. And we do it in a positive and what I like to think fun manner. I'm your host for this episode. My name is Matt Turner, and folks, we're going to be sailing the Stardom Cast ship solo today as Rob Goodwin is on vacation. I believe he told me he went to North Wales. He actually sent me a picture a few hours ago of him roasting marshmallows. And I said, hey, buddy, be careful, because we need you back. Don't set yourself on fire. But he's telling me he's having a great time. So much earned vacation for the godfather of this podcast, one Rob Goodwin. So this is going to be a solo episode. And folks, we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to be reviewing not one, not two, but three fantastic Stardom shows. We're also going to be reviewing the two matches from the Catch the Wave tournament that released on Stardom World a few days ago with our beloved Rana Yagami. And we're going to get into a lot of Rana Yagami talk in the news section, as well as one Saya Kamatani. And also, we're going to be reviewing the two matches from the Sendai Girls show as Momo Watanabe took on Dash, past tense, in a insane hardcore match in Saori Anou, her attempt to regain the Wonder of Stardom Championship against Mika Iwata. So much stuff to talk about, folks. So much stuff to talk about. We will also go over the cards for this weekend shows for Stardom, as well as that loaded Korakuen Hall show coming up on the 23rd of July. And also, folks, we have lots of news. Before we get to all that, let's talk about what's coming up on the Patreon. Now, the Patreon this past week, our alternate commentary that we released. We go back to the 2021 5-Star Grand Prix as Momo Watanabe takes on Miyu Iwatani. Also, by the time you listen to this, fingers crossed, my roundtable discussion with Scotty Wrestling should be available in your Patreon feeds for the $5 and $10 tier, where me and Scott, we talk about our top 5, our countdown, our top 5 favorite title runs in the 13-year history of Stardom. And then by this weekend, probably Saturday or Sunday, that myself and Andy Header, we will be doing what show we liked better. Was it the finals of the 2021 Cinderella tournament, or was it the finals of the 2024 Cinderella tournament? So yes, that should be on your Patreon feeds. I'm scheduled to record with Andy on Wednesday. I'm actually recording this on a Tuesday just so I can get this up to Sean in time so he has it up on the feed for Thursday for our Patreon listeners and Friday for everybody out in the free feed. So I'm trying to get this up early to him so this way he has some time to edit it and put it together. And but I am expected, not unless things happen, cards subject to change. Me and Andy are going to be recording on Wednesday night, and that episode should be up for the $10 tier sometime this weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. Alternate commentary for next week may be a little bit late. That's going to be Miyu Iwatani taking on Tam Nakano from last year's 5-Star Grand Prix 2023. That might be up. We try to get those up Monday, Tuesday. I know Rob comes back, I think, Friday or Saturday, so we're going to try to squeeze that in maybe over the weekend. If not, we'll probably record on Monday. So bear with us if that is a day or so late, as we did not get a chance to record another episode to put it in the can. So again, folks, Miyu versus Tam Nakano, that alternate commentary should be up on your Patreon feeds probably sometime Tuesday, Wednesday, give or take. It all depends. We'll figure it out. So again, it's going to be late, but you'll have it there. So a lot of great stuff that's already on the Patreon feed. Some stuff coming up in the next few weeks. Or not in the next few weeks. There's always stuff dropping on the Patreon. And of course, if you're new to the Patreon, welcome. I know we got 2 or 3 new Patreon members over the past week. It's always nice to see the support that you're showing, not only for the Stardom cast, but for the Stardom and the Marigold brand. So we greatly, greatly appreciate the support. So, and again, you have access to everything in the vault for past roundtables, past alternate commentaries, past what ifs, past retrospectives. I mean, there's 2 years plus worth of material there that you literally get for pennies on the day. So I think it's a great value. Folks, let's get into some news. There's a lot of news. I was doing my notes yesterday morning, and there really wasn't too much going on. And then we got a whole bunch of stuff over the past 24 hours. So let's get into it. Stardom, on their press conference today, announced that Saori has been wrestling the better part of a year plus with basically a beat-up ACL and MCL. She's finally going to have surgery on it to get it repaired and get it repaired right in the right way. So she will miss the 5-star Grand Prix. Saori then nominated to Mr. Okada and all the Stardom fans that Ron Yugami, fellow God's Eye member Ron Yugami, should take her place, and it is official. The rookie, the sensational rookie, who is a metal drummer and somebody we sing her praises all the time on the Stardom cast, she will be taking Saori's spot in the 5-star Grand Prix. So I'm super excited for that. It's going to be interesting to see how she does in there. I think that she'll do well just because of just the absolute run that she has been on over these past few shows, and she's done really well in Catch the Wave. Now, they did also announce that there's going to be a play-in block for the Red Stars A block and the Blue Stars B block. And basically these matches, and we'll get into it at the end of the show when we preview Cork and Hall, the Cork and Hall show coming up next week, where A Stars A block is Waka Tsukiyama taking on Sayaka Kurora, Yuna Mizumori taking on Ruaka, and then the winners of those respective matches will then go on to the tournament final coming up at the Stardom Wonder Rendezvous show. And then Blue Stars block is Miyu Amasaki taking on Aya Sakura, and then Lady C taking on Momo Kogo. My guess, my prediction, it's going to be Waka. We've seen Waka get some pinfall wins here. Waka and Yuna in the Red Stars A block final with Yuna going through. Blue Stars B block is going to be, I'm going to say Miyu and I'm going to say Lady C. Oh man, that Momo Kogo Lady C match, that's a tough one to predict. Just because they've had Momo Kogo in CMLL, they've had her on Ring of Honor, they've had her on New Japan, but at the same time, they're really getting behind Lady C. I'm going to say it's going to be Miyu winning the B Stars block, but really, any 8 of these ladies that qualify for the tournament, it's a win because of just how fantastic all 8 of these wrestlers are. But I'm going to say it's going to be Miyu and Yuna that goes through. I'm more confident on Yuna going through on her block, but that other block, it could be Miyu, it could be Lady C, it could be Momo Kogo, or maybe an outside shot in Aya Sakura, but I think it's going to be a win-win. So that's going to leave 2 spots open. My guess is Mika Iwata and maybe somebody from AEW, or, because I know Mika Iwata is taking on Mina Shirakawa at a Sendai Girls show, maybe they go to a time limit draw and they say, hey, let's both enter the 5-star Grand Prix. Again, fingers crossed, we do get Mina Shirakawa in the 5-star Grand Prix, but I don't think she will. And the reason why is my next news segment is, again, and I know this is not the AEW cast, but this is something that I definitely want to talk about. On last week's AEW Dynamite show, there was one of the best angles I've seen in wrestling in the last few years, where Mariah May defeated Willow Nightingale to win the Owen Hart Tournament final. Thus, she will be challenging Toni Storm in her home country, in Mariah May's home country of England, there in Wembley Stadium for the AEW World Women's Championship. Obviously, we know that Mariah May is Toni Storm's protege. However, as soon as Mariah May took the Owen Hart Invitational belt off the trophy, she hit Toni Storm in the head with it. Toni Storm got some really, really good color. Mariah May then continued to beat down Toni Storm with the belt and then hit her over the head with her shoe. What a phenomenal angle. What a great way to end a great show on Wednesday. Great match. Phenomenal angle. I mean, again, this is one of the best angles I've seen, not just in AEW, but in wrestling the last handful of years. I mean, this was very well done. We have I thought it was going to be Toni Storm just using Mariah May to get these wins in matches, and I thought we'd see a Toni Storm heel turn. But no, the complete opposite. The complete opposite. Mariah May heel turn. We saw her with Toni Storm's blood all over her. So now I kind of understand and it makes sense why Mina Shirakawa may not be in the 5-star Grand Prix. My guess is she's going to be heavily involved in this angle, and rightfully so. I would not be shocked to be seeing Mina Shirakawa on AEW TV over the next few weeks, pretty much just about every show or every week leading into All In, because again, this is a really hot angle. A lot of the wrestling world is buzzing about it. Bringing Mina in, where is she going to side with Mariah May? Is she going to side? Obviously, Mina is a super uber over babyface. Is she going to side with Toni Storm? I mean, who knows? And how about kudos to Luther? Obviously, Luther's been a wrestler for 30 plus years. He's no stranger to the hardcore wars. He wrestled in FMW for quite some time in the early 90s. He took a great bump off the stage through a table. I thought that was very well done. So, kudos to Luther on that. So, super excited for that. And we're going to see where that goes. But again, my guess is that that's the reason why we will not have Mariah May. We will not have Mina Shirakawa in the 5-star Grand Prix. Just to go over the title matches that are officially announced for the 2 shows coming up on the 27th and the 28th, the Stardom Wonder show and the Stardom World show. And again, then we will go over the cards coming up the next week plus at the very end of the show, like myself and Rob usually do. So for the 27th show, we do have future Stardom Championship Rina taking on Rana Yagami, and that's going to be even more interesting considering the fact that Rana Yagami is now in the tournament, is now in the 5-star Grand Prix. So it might help out Rana and the future Stardom Championship if she is in that tournament as the champion. We shall see. Wonder of Stardom Championship. Spoilers, folks, if you haven't seen it. Saori Anou did regain the Wonder of Stardom Championship. She will be taking on Natsupoi in a match that we have been waiting a long, long time for. And then we go to the next day, the 28th of July. Sai Kamitani defending the High Speed Championship against Mei Seira. And then we do have Mika defending the World of Stardom Championship against Natsuko Tora. And I do want to make note that Mika did retain the World of Stardom Championship against Tomoka Inaba at the Just Tap Out show. That show we will not be reviewing today because I have no way to watch it just yet. My guess from what we were told, that show should be up on Stardom World hopefully in the next week or so. So if that is the case, myself and Mr. Rob Goodwin, a refreshed Rob Goodwin, we will be reviewing that match on next week's podcast. So really, really interesting stuff there, and some really entertaining matches that we do have coming up for Stardom. Now, as it always seems to be the case, I did a mini Stardom cast, Marigold standard episode just the other day, and literally hours after it got released, we did get some matches for the Marigold Professional Wrestling Company coming up over the next week. Not only that, but we did get the the participants coming up in the tag title, the Marigold Twin Star Tag Team Title Tournament. And the teams are as follows: Mika Iwata and Natsumi Shozuki. Holy jeez. The 2 wrestlers that I've been most impressed with in this company that weren't from Stardom. So they're teaming up together. Mirai and Mai Sakurai, little DDM reunion. Zeta Steel and Myla Grace. That should be interesting considering the fact that Zeta Steel kind of turned on Myla Grace at Summer Destiny. We saw this one coming, and I'm really excited about this one. The Passion Sisters of Nanae Takahashi and Nao Ishikawa. We have the Twin Towers of Koki Amare and Chika Goto. We have Kazuna Tanaka and Victoria Yuzuki. I was hoping they would tag up after how great they looked as a team at Summer Destiny, and here we are. Chiaka and Nagisa Nozaki, and Ria Saito and Kamomo Manami. So really, really interesting stuff. There's some really powerful teams there. So I'm super excited for that. And let's go over, while we're talking about the Marigold Company, let's go over and talk about the 2 shows they have coming up. This Saturday, 20th of July, this is going to be live on the Wrestle Universe. This is going to be a live stream in Shinkiba First Ring because it's in Tokyo. We do have Nagisa Nozaki versus Rei Sato versus Kamomo Manami in a 3-way dance. Misa Matsui versus Bozilla. That should be interesting to say the least, because you have the big powerhouse that is Bozilla, the killer that is Bozilla, against the speed star and Misa Matsui. Utami Hayashishita taking on Chiaki. That's going to be a hard-hitting, fun one. That'll be a fun one. Julia, not done yet. She's not going over the stage just yet. She comes back to Marigold as she's going to be teaming up with basically the two rookie duo, the two rookies here in Kazuna Tanaka and Vittoria Yuzuki. They will be Julia, Kazuna Tanaka, and Vittoria Yuzuki taking on the team of Saori, Mika Iwata, and Natsumi Shozuki. That is going to be a fun one. And then our final two matches get round one of the Marigold Twin Star Championship Tournament Series. Well, not series, but it's basically one and you're done, you're out. I thought this match could have been the finals. I really did. I thought this match was going to be the finals, but we're going to get a main event style match here right in round one. The Passion Sisters of Nanae Takahashi and Nao Ishikawa versus the Twin Towers of Koki Amare and Chika Goto. And then what is billed, at least right now, to be the main event will be Mirai and Mai Sakurai taking on Zeta Steel and Myla Grace. I'm just going to go over the predictions. I'm going to say Nozaki wins three-way, Bozilla over Misa Matsui, Utami over Chiaka, I'm going to say Team Sari over Team Julia with one of the rookies taking the pinfall. I'm going to say the Twin Towers defeat the Passion Sisters, and I'm going to say the former DDM team, Mirai and Mei Sakurai, defeat the team that are not getting along with Zeta Steel and Myla Grace. And then we go to Sunday, July 21st. We do have the Twin Towers. This is obviously not a Twin Star Championship Tournament match. The Twin Towers are Koki Amare and Chika Goto versus Misa Matsui and Nao Ishikawa. Nanae Takahashi and Zeta Steel taking on Bozilla and Myla Grace. That should be interesting considering the fact we have seen Nanae Takahashi and Bozilla really getting into it in the last few shows. We have, this is going to be a good one, Mirai and Utami Hayashishita taking on Julia and Mai Sakurai. I'm super excited for that one. And then we go to round one of the Marigold Twin Star Championship Tournament. Ryo Saito and Kamomo Manami taking on Chiaka and Nagisa Nozaki. And then again, what is being built as the main event, which this is going to be, this one's going to be really good. Miko Iwata and Natsumi Shozuki taking on Victoria Yuzuki and Kazuna Tanaka. Just to give my quick predictions, I'm going to say the Twin Towers over Misa and Nao. I'm going to say Nanae and Zeta Steel over Bozilla and Myla Grace, with Myla Grace eating the pinfall. I'm going to say Mirai and Utami Hayashishita versus Julia and Mai Sakurai goes to the old TLD. As far as the tournament matches go, I will say Chiaka and Nagisa Nozaki, they will defeat the rookie team of Kamomo Manami and Ryo Saito. And then I'm going to take Miko Iwata and Natsumi Shozuki over Victoria Yuzuki and Kazuna Tanaka. So that's going to make for some interesting semifinals. So some really loaded stuff there from our friends over at the Marigold Wrestling Company. Super excited to see all the fantastic action that we've been getting from the Marigold Company. So let's talk about, again, these matches have not been, as far as this recording, the finals of the Catch the Wave tournament are not on Stardom World. I will review the two ones that were up there with Chi-Chi versus Ronnie Yagami, and then the second match between Risa Sera and Sai Kamatani. I'll review that in place of EO Watch because there is no EO Watch this week because EO her and Kyrie are over in Japan. I had a little vacation because next week the WWE will be coming over to Japan for a tour, so that's where they'll be on. But storyline-wise is they're still selling and suffering the beating that they had last week on the hands of the new faction of Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler. So there'll be no Io and Kyrie watch, but plenty of fantastic stuff to go over at the end of this podcast because there's a lot of really cool stuff going on with Stardom. Anywho, what I was trying to get to, folks, is that Sai Kamatani did win the Catch the Wave tournament, which, when she was originally announced for this tournament, kind of figured they're not going to have an outsider win the tournament, and why would Stardom send one of their big main eventers over to catch the wave? Well, not only did Sai Kamatani catch the wave, she caught the win. So if her big win in the tournament final is on Stardom World over the next week, I will watch it and we will review it for next week's show. So good on Sai Kamatani. Obviously, a lot of us have her pegged as the early favorite to win the 5-star Grand Prix. So if that is the case, this really can be the summer of Saya, as Saya Kamatani is on Kamatani's quest to build herself and Queen's Quest back up in her image, and I'm all for it. I'm super excited for it, and the fans are really, really behind it. Not only in the arenas where these crowds have been really, really receptive towards everything Stardom, but a lot of people are super excited over on the Twitter universe, which I know can be a negative place, but everybody on the Twitter universe and social media, they got nothing but love for one Saya Kamatani, the Golden Phoenix. So super excited to see if Saya Kamatani can win 2 tournaments all in one summer. I mean, that's a great way to build her back up. So yes, and then again, folks, I'm just looking at my notes here for the podcast notes is the last thing we will do before I sign off in this very hot day that we're having. I don't know if you can hear behind me. I'm in my podcast room, and I got about 9 fans going on me because it is 98 degrees here in Pennsylvania, and considering the fact that I think with the heat index it's about 105. So if you hear a little bit of a silence, which you're going to now, that's me taking a sip of water for the working man, because I got to keep myself hydrated. So yes, at the end of this episode, we will go over the 2 shows from this weekend, and then the shows on Korakuen Hall, which I believe is going to be another, live stream on Stardom World. I think it's the 23rd, which is Tuesday. That's the Tuesday. That's kind of random, but hey, we'll take it. The more live great wrestling we see, the better. Folks, let's get into these 3 shows. As always, another shout out to my main man, Darren Chatton, who was able to get me the attendance numbers for all 3 shows. Darren, you are a lifesaver. Always appreciate all the help that you give us, and just appreciate you just being a good brother, as we call in the wrestling business. You're just a good brother. Always great chatting with you, any and all things pro wrestling. And I believe from what I saw you putting on Twitter, your soccer/football team made it to the finals. I believe you and Rob are the same, right? England. I'm almost positive. I think that you guys made it to the finals, but I don't know if you took home the W. Regardless, as they said in Talladega Nights, sometimes there's nothing wrong with silver, buddy. Nothing wrong with silver. So regardless, congratulations on a great season. I apologize that I'm not too familiar with we call soccer what you call football over there, but I understand that both you and Rob were pretty happy for how well your team played this year. But anywho, we're not here to talk about soccer or football. We're here to talk about some Stardom wrestling. And again, Darren, thank you so much, as always, for giving me the attendance numbers. So the attendance numbers at this show at the Edion Arena in Osaka that took place on July 12th was 335 people. So what I'm going to do, folks, is how I would always do this whenever I do a solo show, is I'm just going to go over to the highlights on every single match, and I'm going to give my star rating. So match number 1 saw Hanan defeat Rianne in 5 minutes and 28 seconds with the Dandelion. This match starts out with Hanan using the headlock to ground the rookie Rianne. Early on, Rianne is able to come back with a corner Rana. Hana then fires back up with a judo throw. Hana then breaks down Rianne's arm, which makes sense. She tries to lock in the Dandelion about 3 minutes of this match. Rianne is able to get out with several roll-ups. Hanan eventually uses the rocker dropper, and then she uses that to finally put away Rianne. Again, 5 minutes, 28 seconds. Really great opener here. And again, I like how Stardom, these past 7, 8, 9 shows, have been using either a hot opener or a wrestler, like a main event style wrestler. Obviously, Hana has won the Cinderella tournament. Rianne is really good in these opening matches. We saw Rianne open up Korakuen Hall with Tam Nakano. And I like how we're using, again, a hot match and or someone that's insanely over, like a main eventer or an upper mid-card wrestler, to start the show to get the crowd really hot. I really think that's smart. 3.5 stars. And again, I'm a huge fan of Rianne. All these rookies in Stardom are just blowing me away. Just, it's like, you shouldn't be that good. Like, that's something like somebody 4 or 5 years in the business should be. And these girls are just way ahead. Marigold as well. Momo, she's doing great. Obviously, Vittoria Yuzuki. A lot of these rookies, Kazuna Tanaka, I know she's only wrestling maybe about a year or so. All these Joshi rookies are just blow me away how fantastic that they're doing. And good on them. It really shows their work ethic. Match number 2, Sasaki Kashima defeat Aya Sakura in 7 minutes and 20 seconds with the Angel's Wings. Aya starts this match out with several leg kicks. She winds up flooring Saki Kashima with a spin kick. Saki fires back with some really great palm strikes. Eventually, Saki tries for the Angel's Wings, but however, Aya Sakura blocks the Angel's Wings with a roll-up for a 2 count. We get Aya with several near falls back and forth. Eventually, Saki slows down Aya Sakura hits the big boot and then goes back to the Angels' wings for the pinfall. 3.25 stars for me. Again, I like how very much like in match number 1, the finish was teased. It got blocked. A couple roll-ups from the other competitor, from the rookie. Then eventually, very much like Hana did in match 1, Saki Kashima goes back to the move she was going for, the Angels' wings, the high double underhook face plant for the finish. So again, it's little psychology there. Makes sense. You kind of tease it. The opponent's not worn down enough. Let me kind of break it down a little bit more, and then eventually they hit it. 3.25 stars. Solid match. Match number 3 saw the Stars team of Saida and Momokogo defeat the Cosmic Angels team of Yuna Mizumori and Sayaka Kurora when Saida hits this insane lariat on Sayaka Kurora at 9 minutes and 26 seconds. Ida stops the Cosmic Angels double team early on, and then we get some Stars teamwork onto Sayaka Kurora. Eventually, Yuna Mizumori, she comes in and she cleans house on Ida and Kogo. Momokogo hits the 619 to Yuna Mizumori. We get really good. We knew this was going to happen. We get some violent exchanges with Saida and Yuna Mizumori. Yes, please. It's the best part of the match. Sayaka Kurora, she comes in, fires up with a pair of drop kicks. Yuna then hits a sliding lariat onto Sayaka. That scores her a 2 count. Sayaka Kurora then ducks a lariat and hits a huge spear onto Saida for a 2 count. We eventually get some more Stars double team that eventually leads to a Saida Ida insane lariat onto Sayaka Kurora at 9 minutes and 26 seconds. I had this at 3.5 stars. Match number 4, 8-person tag, saw the God's Eye team plus Lady C, because we don't know where she stands just yet, of Konami, Sherry, Rana Yugami, and Lady C, defeating the Oedo Tai team of Ruaka, Fukin Death, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora when Sherry pins Fukin Death with the Ruin at 9 minutes and 18 seconds. We get some really good exchanges with Konami and Momo Watanabe. Basically, a little bit of a preview of what we're probably going to be getting in Korakuen Hall in a week's time. That quickly, though, turns into the Oedo Tai all over the building brawl. Lady C comes in. She dominates Ruaka and Tora. She locks both of them in the double abdominal stretch. I thought that was really cool. We saw Lady C look really strong on this tour, which I really, really like. Lady C hits a big boot, drops the leader of Oedo Tai, Natsuko Tora. Shuri comes in, she hits a flurry of kicks on Natsuko Tora. Shuri then locks Natsuko Tora in a triangle choke. Eventually that gets broken up by Momo Watanabe. We get some Rana and Shuri. They trade kicks on the clown on one Fukin Death. Shuri then locks down a belly down armbar onto Fukin Death. Momo Watanabe comes in with the save. However, the tag champs, meaning Konami and Shuri, they hit a double code breaker onto Momo Watanabe that takes her out. And then Konami, Ranugami, and Lady C, they run off the rest of the members of Oedo Tai as Shuri then plants Fukin Death with a brutal Ruin, 9 minutes, 18 seconds, 3.5 stars as the Ruin gets the job done for the God's Eye team. God's Eye plus Lady C. Now we really start to pick things up, folks. We get to a three-way 6-person tag match, like I guess a 9-person tag match, as the Work Rate Angels, the Cosmic Angels of Tam Nakano, Saori Anou, and Natsupoi defeat the team of Miyu Otani, Hazuki, and Kagama, Stars, Miyu, FWC, and the EXV team of Mina Shirakawa, Waka Tsukiyama, and Xena. Mina, Hazuki, and Saori Anou, they are off to a fast 3-way start, back and forth, some really good stuff. They're really entertaining stuff from both these three phenomenal wrestlers. Can we get some Cosmic Angels triple team onto Mina Shirakawa? I'm sure she was having flashbacks to 3 years ago, 2 and 3 years ago, when that was Mina Shirakawa that was dishing out the Cosmic Angels beat down here. We get some triple teamwork onto from EXV, and then some triple teamwork from the Stars team. So really cool in this match, like the first 3-4 minutes, we're highlighting the triple teamwork from the Cosmic Angels, we're highlighting the triple teamwork from EXV, we're highlighting the triple teamwork from Stars. So I thought that was really, really cool. Eventually, though, everybody beats up on poor Waka. Oh, poor Waka. Xena comes in and she cleans house. And I like how we're building Xena back up after her loss, but a phenomenal loss to Mika. And we're really warming her up for the 5-star Grand Prix. She got some stiff chops to Miyu Otani and Natsupoi. I would love to see Mina versus Miyu for the IWGP Joshi Championship because I'd be all for that. Mina Shirakawa hits the Arisa Hoshinki kick to Koguma. We get some Dream Age teamwork with Tam and Mina. I guess kind of forgetting that they are not on the same team. They basically do some teamwork, I guess, divide and conquer onto Miyu and FWC. I thought that was really cool. Koguma breaks up a pinfall when Mina has a pinfall attempt onto Hazuki, and then Koguma comes off the top rope with a body splash. I thought that was cool. We get waterfall style finishes. Basically what that means is that everybody hits a big move. Miyu comes in, hits a big move, and then Mina hits it on Miyu, and then Koguma hits something on Mina. It's basically, that's what they call the waterfall. Everybody gets a quick highlight. We get that 9 times over. I thought that was really, really cool. Then all 9 of these wrestlers all get up in a circle, and they all throw a punch at the same time for a 9-way double knockout. That wouldn't be double. What would be the plural of 9? Anyway, 9-way almost knockout. I thought that was really, really cool. Waka hits the reverse X Factor to Tam. That eventually starts the triple team dive from the Stars hit the triple team dive onto everybody on the floor, which I thought was cool because you have Koguma coming off the second turnbuckle while Miyu and Hazuki are doing running suicide dives. I thought that was really cool as we keep building this match up, because that was like the coolest spot of the match. However, not to be outdone, Natsupoi goes all the way to the top rope and hits a huge, huge plancha to the floor off the post. I thought that was really cool. Again, we're building. We got the triple dives, which is a cool spot. Natsupoi, even though it's only one person doing a dive, her dive is the highest. It's the riskiest. And then eventually Tam gets Waka back in the ring, hits the Tiger Suplex at 13 minutes, 52 seconds. 4.25 stars for me, folks. This was my favorite match of all of the Stardom shows. This was terrific. You know a match is good when Rob Goodwin's watching it live and will text me and say, you need to watch this match. I'm like, of course I'm going to watch it. Stardom, and it's part of my job as the co-host of this phenomenal podcast. But this was great. You have 9 wrestlers in the ring. And it seems like I say this every week. It always seems like when you have a match that's got more than 2 people, if one thing goes wrong, it's the domino effect. A whole match can get ruined. But not only does Stardom take that challenge, they raise the bar and double it. Because nobody does these multi-person matches better than these wrestlers at Stardom. Everybody's at the right place, the right time. Everybody looks good. Waka got a lot of offense on the main eventers in this match, meaning Miyu and Tam. I thought she looked really good ultimately for Tam, just to beat her at the end. Of course, that's what you want. You want to make Waka look strong, and then she eats the L, and just all those triple team spots I thought was terrific. We got Tam and Mina teaming up again for a few seconds. We got some Xena violence on there. FWC, they prove why they're the best tag team in the world, in my opinion. And then some really cool dive spots at the end that eventually leads to Tam hitting the picture perfect Tiger Suplex on Waka. Again, folks, 4.25 stars. This was the match of these 3 shows for me. Folks, we go to another match that completely blew me away. And I mentioned this when we recorded last week, that this could be a breakout singles performance with Miyu Amasaki. She's had some good matches as far as a singles wrestler, but where she's been shining is part of O2 line, and then part of Queen's Quest when you would have Utami before she left and Saya there. Obviously, Queen's Quest is no more. Excuse me, I'm not going to say no more. Miyu is not in Queen's Quest because of what happened at the conversion. Obviously, I'm sure you all know that. But Miyu against Starlight Kid, we know they're in this faction, right? And obviously, we'll get into the post-match promo where Azumi and Miyu Amasaki are saying that they're going to go into this faction with Starlight Kid and Mei Seira, and then obviously Suzuki as well. But this is going to be a big test for her because we knew this match was going to get time. And it did. Starlight Kid defeats Miyu Amasaki with the Black Tiger Leg Crusher, 16 minutes, 16 seconds. So this match got a lot of time to breathe, and Starlight Kid took Miyu Amasaki, who's right there. She's right there to be like a solid mid-carder, like somebody you can plug into matches and have great matches with. And Starlight Kid brought her up here. This was, by no means was a carry job, but the Starlight Kid really went out of her way to make sure Miyu Amasaki looked good, which is smart because, one, at the end, Starlight Kid gets the win here. So if she just squashes Miyu Amasaki, who did she beat? She didn't beat anybody. But the fact that she made Miyu look as good as she did, and then she tapped her out at the end, makes Starlight Kid look stronger. And 2, Miyu Amasaki is now going to be in this faction with Starlight Kid. So again, Starlight Kid, this is the person that's on my team. Let me elevate her, because then at the end of the day, it's only going to make my faction look stronger. Really simple psychology and smart booking here. We get some solid technical wrestling to start this match. Starlight Kid hits a moonsault to Miyu Amasaki's knee early on. We start building up the knee work to Starlight Kid doing the DDT. Starlight Kid starting to build up the knee work onto Miyu Amasaki. Miyu Amasaki is able to come back with a big DDT, and she starts to build up her offense. We get a really good forearm exchange between Miyu and Starlight Kid. Miyu Amasaki's forearms have come along a long way. Those tag matches she had at the tag tournament 2 years ago against 7-Up, those forearms, they couldn't break an egg. And here we are some 2 years later, and she's looking really good with some of these strikes. Really loved seeing that improve there. We do have Miyu Amasaki goes to the top rope as if she's going for a swinging DDT. However, Starlight Kid drop kicks Miyu off the top rope. Miyu lands onto the floor. Starlight Kid tries for a moonsault. However, Miyu stops the top rope moonsault and is able to hit a tornado DDT off the apron onto the floor. Really good spot there. We thought we were going to get this big moonsault from Starlight Kid. We don't get it just yet. Miyu stops it, but is able to plant Starlight Kid on the top of her head. I thought that was great. Back in the ring, Miyu hits a top rope swinging X Factor that scores her a 2 count. And then Miyu tries to put Starlight Kid away with a Tensai. However, Starlight Kid blocks the Tensai and hits the Locomotion cross-leg Northern Light suplex that scores the former high-speed champion a 2 count. Miyu plants Starlight Kid with the top rope DDT. This was a great sell by Starlight Kid. I mean, she's really putting over the power of these DDTs onto her neck from Miyu Amasaki. You can tell they definitely teach bridge class over at the Stardom Dojo. Starlight Kid blocks another Tensai, and she's able to float that over into a knee breaker, and then locks in a leg crusher submission. I thought that the Black Tiger leg crusher submission, I thought that was really cool, how it looked like she was going for like the gory special, like when the two backs are side to side, or almost like the backslide, but instead she picks her up and then drops Miyu right on the knee that she's been working off and on the entire match. Great stuff to kind of go back to the strategy she had early on in the match. Starlight, eventually though, Miyu Amasaki gets to the ropes. Starlight Kid pours on the pressure, hits a 180 splash for a 2 count. Starlight Kid then locks back in the leg crusher submission. Miyu Amasaki is able to escape and then basically uses Starlight Kid's own momentum against her. She uses the leg capture O'Connor roll for a 2.9 count. I thought that was great. Starlight Kid is able to come back. She hits the Black Tiger pile driver. She uses that move to go back to the Black Tiger leg crusher submission on the third time. Third time was the charm for the tap out. Again, 16 minutes, 16 seconds, 4 stars. This is Miyu Amasaki's best performance I've ever seen her have. And again, folks, there's a good chance that it is her that goes into the 5-star Grand Prix, and I would not be sad about it. I won't be sad for any of those, any 8 of those wrestlers that are in the tournament. Not unless it's Ruaka and she's going to use the lunch crate every single match. But I would like to see Ruaka in the tournament. She's the only one of those 8 wrestlers that have ever been in the 5-star Grand Prix. Regardless, I'm getting on a rant here. Miyu Amasaki was great here. And maybe that's what this match was. Maybe this was her audition to go into the 5-star Grand Prix. If it was, flying colors, Miss Miyu Amasaki. Great match, 4 stars. We go to the main event. Again, these last 3 matches, they were something else. This was terrific. We go to the main event of this show that saw Mika, World of Stardom champion, and Sai Kamatani taking on, I guess, the Speed Sisters, Mei Seira and Azumi. This was a phenomenal match with Sai Kamatani reversing the rolling shooting star on Mei Seira, using her leverage to get the 3 count at 10 minutes and 39 seconds. We get Mei Seira and Sai Kamatani. They are off to a fast start. A little bit of a preview of what we're going to be seeing here in about 2 weeks' time for the High Speed Championship. We get some great double team work from Mei Seira and Azumi. I say this all the time. Azumi is like her and Momo Watanabe as a tag team in like 2019 and 2020. Azumi with Utami. Azumi with Sai Kamatani. Azumi with Miyu Amasaki as part of O2 line. We've been seeing Azumi with Starlight Kid. They're fantastic. And Azumi and Mei Seira. I mean, not only that, but Azumi's a phenomenal singles wrestler. Like, Azumi's so good. You can put her in any role, whether it's tag, singles, have her tag with anybody. And it just works. And her and Mei Seira are just phenomenal as a tag team. Obviously, I hope that when Suzuki does come back, which we will talk about at the very end of this episode, because they did say Suzu is coming back at the Cork and Hall show coming up next week. I would like, not unless they have singles plans for Suzuki. I wouldn't say no to her chasing the white and or red belt, but I would love to see Crazy Star back together as a team. Regardless, if not, Mei Seira and Azumi as a tag team, I got no problem with that. But yeah, we do see Mei Seira and Azumi get some phenomenal teamwork over the Golden Phoenix. Mika then comes in the ring. She overpowers Mei Seira. Azumi then uses an armbar onto Mika. Mika then hits the Buzz Sawyer style power slam onto Azumi. Mika then hits a huge suplex, vertical style suplex onto Azumi. Azumi with some forearms to Sai Kamatani. We got some really good Sai Kamatani versus Azumi stuff here, and we've never seen it before when they were part of Queen's Quest. We did get some Azumi versus Utami violence in the 5-Star Grand Prix a couple times the last few years, but nothing with Azumi and Sai Kamatani on opposite sides. And you're kind of wondering for like a half a second, how would they work? Oh yeah, they worked great. They worked fantastic. Love to see them in a singles match. Eventually, though, Sai Kamatani is able to drop Azumi with his brutal spin kick. I really like that. More of the same with Azumi. Mei Seira going back to the teamwork on Sai Kamatani to get the advantage back for the Speed Sisters, as I guess I'm going to call them for this segment. Mei Seira hits a huge dropkick onto Sai Kamatani that scores her a 2 count. And then we get Azumi and Mei Seira hit springboard stereo drop kicks to both Mika and Sai Kamatani. Folks, have you ever been in a wrestling ring before? You know how difficult it is to not only to do springboards at the same time because you're shaking all 4 ropes, but then to hit them to 2 opponents that are in the ring and for everybody to land where they need to land and land safely. Like, that is such a hard thing to do on a whole bunch of accounts. Again, the fact these 2 ladies were able to do springboard dropkicks on opposite sides of the ring, the fact that nobody fell, and the fact that both Sai Kamatani and Mika took perfect bumps and their ring positioning was perfect. Like, it may not seem like a big thing. It may not be like a 630 off the top rope, or Dash is insane, when we'll get to it, Dash is insane, dive off the ladder through a table in Corrigan Hall. Like, ring positioning is something that's such underrated, and it's so difficult to do. And the fact that these 4 ladies, especially Azumi and Mei Seira, were able to pull off something like that was a thing of beauty. Chef's kiss. That sends Sai Kamatani and Mika to the floor. However, there's no safe place inside this building with Mei Seira and Azumi. They hit stereo dives onto the floor. Mei Seira then hits a German suplex onto Sai Kamatani. We do see that Azumi and Mei Seira, they set Sai Kamatani up to the top rope for a double superplex. However, Mika is able to come behind both of them and powerbomb both Azumi and Mei Seira off the top rope. Sai Kamatani stays on the top rope and hits a missile dropkick to Mei Seira for a 2 count. Sai Kamatani then goes for the Star Crusher. Mei Seira is able to roll up the former Wonder of Stardom champion on a 2 count. We do see Azumi then comes in. She hits a La Mystica that sets up, or she hits a La Mystica onto Sai Kamatani, which perfectly sets up Mei Seira for the rolling shooting star. However, Sai Kamatani, using her leverage to advantage, is able to roll through and reverse it, catching Mei Seira for a 3 count at 10 minutes and 39 seconds. This is 4 1/4 stars for me. I did like the match number 5 better with the 9 wrestlers, a little bit better, but this was my second favorite match of this tour. This was terrific. And I like how Azumi, we have a tag finish here. Azumi hits a La Mystica, setting up Mei Seira for the rolling star, because Azumi, when she hits a La Mystica, she usually goes in the armbar, which usually is in the middle of the ring. So now when she hits this La Mystica, she's in the middle of the ring, which is exactly where Mei Seira needs her opponent to be to hit that rolling shooting star. But again, I liked how Sai Kamatani is able to use, again, how much taller she is than Mei Seira, able to use that leverage to roll back through and sneak in a 3 count. Again, folks, if you have seen the press conference and the pictures of the press conference when they were doing the photo op for this high-speed championship match we're getting at the end of the month, we saw that Sai Kamatani is like a good 6-7 inches taller than Mei Seira, which I thought was comical. But again, really cool. I'm really looking forward to that match. This was great, and Mika and Sai Kamatani, they work really, really well together. Mika did make mention that she does want Sai Kamatani in her corner for every single championship defense coming up. I know some people are saying, oh, is Sai going to turn on Mika? That wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. That would make less sense if Saya turned on Queen's Quest and went with the Wedo tie. Just would not make sense whatsoever. So I would not be, that's like WWE booking. I'm not saying, it's wrestling. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I think that would not be the smartest decision. Regardless, I think the whole with Sai Kamatani seconding Mika is that Saori Kamatani is going to have a front row seat for all these World of Stardom Championship matches, and eventually she's going to challenge Mika for the belt. Again, my prediction is Saya wins the 5-star, and then we're already planting the seeds for that match probably coming up at the end of the year, in 4 or 5 months' time, which I'm all for a slow burn with we're building Saya and Mika up for that big match. Again, it's probably going to happen at the end of the year or one of those slew of shows at the beginning of next year. Again, 4.25 stars for me. Excellent stuff. Really nice burying the hatchet promo with Saya Kamatani and Azumi. Folks, if you listen to this show, even for the last 2 or 3 weeks, you know that how much of a Queen's Quest fan I am, especially of Saori Kamatani and Azumi. Obviously, Azumi is no longer in Queen's Quest. She's been there, I think, pretty much since she's been in middle school. But that's really not even a joke. That's not that far off. But it's nice to see that Azumi and Saori Kamatani were so forgiving towards each other. That's like, hey, I was forced out of the group because of the stipulation. I get it, no problem. I'm going to go with this new faction with Mei Seira, with Suzuki, with Starlight Kid, and with my tag partner, Miyu Amasaki. And they kind of just buried the hatchet and they fist bump, which I thought was really, really cool. And got a really good reaction from the crowd. So I really, really like that. So excellent stuff. Great show. Great show. That was probably my favorite show of these 3. Show number 2 took place at the Yamato Arena. 351 people. This show took place on the 13th of July. And folks, the results are as follows. Match number 1 saw the God's Eye team of Shuri and Saki Kashima defeating the God's Eye team plus Saori Kamatani of Rana Yagami and Saori Kamatani when it was Shuri submitted Rana Yagami with the grounded Suzenka at 9 minutes and 32 seconds. We get a quick start with Saki Kashima and Saori Kamatani, obviously the current high-speed champion and the former 2-time high/low-speed champion. And Saori Kamatani hits a double stomp to Saki. We get a forearm trade-off with Shuri and Saori Kamatani. That is a dream match that I've been waiting so long to see, since the two of them absolutely ruled Stardom and maybe even pro wrestling in 2022 with their World and Wonder of Stardom championship run. So I'm hoping we see that match somewhere down the line. Again, maybe if Saori Kamatani does win the World of Stardom championship somewhere at the end of this year, beginning next year, that would be a match I would love to see. Rana Yagami fires up on her mentor, Shuri, with some forearms. Eventually, Shuri's able to build some groundwork on Rana Yagami, basically breaking down Rana's arm. Eventually, though, she gets the grounded Suzenka onto Rana Yagami, forcing the tap out. Again, 9 minutes, 32 seconds. I said 3.25 stars. Again, we're starting off with a hot match. We have 2 main eventers in this match with Shuri and Saori Kamatani. We have Saki Kashima, who's completely different from everybody on this roster with a comedy gimmick, and Rana Yagami is somebody that we're really putting a focus on. So again, really good match, good way to start the show, again with 2 main eventers in Shuri and Saori Kamatani. Match number 2 is Hana defeating Aya Sakura with the Hana Special at 7 minutes and 41 seconds. Hana comes out of this match with a big dropkick. Aya Sakura is able to fight back with some kicks. Hana misses the 180 body splash. Aya Sakura then takes advantage, locking the winner of the Cinderella tournament in a triangle choke. Hana then tries to escape, but Aya is relentless, going to this triangle choke. I mean, every which way, she is locking this in on the Cinderella tournament winner. Aya Sakura is able to hit a diving knee and a Northern Light suplex for a 2 count. However, Hana Kimura, rest in peace, Hana. Hana is able to catch Aya Sakura with the Hana Special for the 3 count, 3.5 stars. And always, hey, anytime I can mention Hana Kimura, whether that's on purpose or not, it's always nice to keep Hana in our memories. That's why we always do at the very end. Everybody's different, everyone's special. So, yes, nothing but love showing to the late, great Hana Kimura. Match number 3, Shizuka Waka Tsukiyama picking up a win over Rian and Sayaka Kurora when she hits the bridging suplex, which is known as the Moonlight Dream, at 5 minutes and 39 seconds. We get a 3-way wrist lock exchange between the two. Sayaka Kurora locks Rian in a rear naked choke. We do get Rian firing back up with some forearms. Sayaka Kurora is able to hit a Golden Gate swing for a 2 count and then hits a spear onto Rian. That scores her a 2 count. Eventually, we do see Waka and Sayaka Kurora. They have a forearm trade-off. And then we do see Waka getting rid of Sayaka Kurora, and she's able to hit the rookie, Rian, with the bridging suplex. 5 minutes, 39 seconds, folks. It's kind of tough to tell a story with 3 wrestlers in less than 6 minutes. Regardless, they kept everything simple. They kept it light. 3.25 stars. And nice to see Waka picking up another win here. Match number 4, two of my favorite wrestlers in all the land, saw Mina Shirakawa defeating Momokogo with the figure 4 leg lock in 9 minutes and 12 seconds. This is a very simple psychology match. Watching this match, this was pretty much like, hey, we got around 8 to 10 minutes. We got Mina up with the figure 4 leg lock, and they're probably like, we'll see you out there. Simple story to tell, and both these ladies worked really hard at telling it. And Momokogo's limb work selling, I'm really invested in, because she does a great job looking like she's really trying to fight back on this. And that's what this is with Mina. Mina, early on in the match, goes after Momo's leg. Momokogo is able to fight back with some strikes and a beautiful drop kick. She goes for the 619, but Mina blocks it and then goes back to Momokogo's knee. Mina once again fires up, this time only on one leg, really selling the damage that Mina has done with some forearm strikes. Momokogo comes back with a springboard dropkick and finally hits that 619 to Mina, and then she's able to follow that up with the 619 DDT that scores her a 2 count. Mina Shirakawa eventually, though, puts away the fire that is Momokogo, going back to the knee, locking in the figure 4 for the tap out. Again, 9 minutes and 12 seconds. 3.5 stars. Again, really simple story to tell, but everything really, really made sense. Match number 5 saw the EXV team of Mika and Xena defeating the God's Eye team, well again, maybe God's Eye team of Konami and Lady C, when Xena hits Lady C with a Thunderstruck at 10 minutes and 12 seconds. Match starts off with basically Judo versus Jiu-Jitsu here, as Mika and Konami have some really great ground grappling back and forth. I really like that. Mika gets the advantage, or so we think, on this exchange, but Konami on her back is able to lock the World of Stardom champion in a triangle choke. I thought that was great. Mika and Xena, they do some really cool double team moves here. A lot of Motor City Machine Gun style spots here, or if you want to even go back further to the late 90s, early 2000s, maybe the little bit of the Backseat Boys of Johnny Cashmere and the late great Trent Acid. Some really cool stuff there we saw from Mika and Xena, and stuff we've never seen them do before. So I thought that was really cool to try out something new on this show. Konami is able to really dominates Mika on the grappling here. Konami locks in a double armbar onto Mika, which I thought was really good. Eventually, Xena comes in for the save. Mika hits the Buzz Sawyer, Ted DiBiase style power slam onto Konami. Lady C and Xena have a chop off. Folks, we knew it was coming. We knew it was going to be violent. We knew it was going to be great. But yes, Xena with the overhand chops and Lady C with the reverse knife edge chops. Really good stuff there.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. What are your self-care non-negotiables? Maybe you've set aside some time away from social media every day. Maybe you find the time to put on your favourite Miyu Iwatani match. Maybe you never skip leg day or therapy day. When your schedule is packed like Ryogoku with kids' activities, big work projects and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time for it. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. It's so important to make time for yourself, even when life can get so hectic. Therapy is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to become the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's a service that is entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/stardom today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/stardom. And now back to today's episode.
Even though it looks like Xena wins the chop off, Lady C hits a big boot and a huge choke slam onto Xena for a 2 count. We do get some more double team work from Mika and Xena. They hit the spin cycle onto, basically they hit it onto Konami that is on Lady C. That was a really cool spot. So Mika and Xena come over. They double team Lady C. They get Lady C down, and then they hit the spin cycle move onto Konami that's on the Lady C onto the ground, which I thought was great. Eventually, though, Lady C takes advantage, Xena takes advantage, and she hits the Thunderstruck onto Lady C. Solid match, really cool double team stuff from Micah and Xena. 3.5 stars for me, and again, Lady C looked really good in this match, especially towards the end on her offense onto Xena. And I thought it was really cool how it took 2/3 of the current Artist of Stardom champions and the World of Stardom champion in Micah to put down Lady C. So I thought it was really cool how we built her up in the match. We took 2 of our main eventers to put down Lady C. Really good stuff there, and really good job building up Lady C. And great stuff with Konami and Micah. I mean, it's a match I want to see. That's the match I would like to see somewhere down the road. Maybe if Micah does retain at the end of this month, which I think she's going to. I know some people are a little worried. Maybe Konami gets a World of Stardom Championship match. I got no problem with that as we wind down on tournament season, maybe coming up in the next 2 or 3 months. Match number 6 saw the new faction, I guess, SL Mei, or 4XL, whatever you want to call them, team of Starlight Kid, Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, and Mei Seira, defeating the Cosmic Angels team of Tam Nakano, Yuna Mizumori, Natsupoi, and Saori Anou at 14 minutes and 35 seconds. The match starts off with Starlight Kid and Natsupoi, folks, and if you've been watching Stardom a long time, you know they don't miss. Really good stuff there. And Natsupoi is probably a little mad at Starlight Kid for considering the fact that her and Tam Nakano wore masks for a show or two. They wore masks to cover up their faces, to show solidarity, to show we will do anything to get Starlight Kid and Cosmic Angels. But Starlight Kid's like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to create my own faction. But really good stuff there. Cosmic Angels then cut the ring off on Miyu Amasaki. Miyu is able to fire back up on Saori Anou. Tell you what, Miyu Amasaki keeps improving. I'll take a Miyu Amasaki versus Saori Anou Wonder of Stardom Championship match. That'd be something. I wouldn't say no to that. Again, you're building Miyu Amasaki up. Why not give her to a red-hot Saori Anou, maybe coming off the 5-star Grand Prix. We get Azumi Mei Seira, very much like on the very first show that I just reviewed. Great teamwork on the current, as it's recording, on the current Wonder of Stardom champion and Saori Anou. Tam hits a kick combo onto Mei Seira. Starlight Kid hits a top rope arm drag onto Tam Nakano. Miyu and Yuna Mizumori trade roll-ups for several 2 counts. I thought that was really cool. Again, folks, when you have these phenomenal 8 wrestlers in the ring, you can't help it but to do a waterfall-style finish. Miyu Amasaki hits a big tornado DDT for a 2 count. Eventually, Starlight Kid hits a big dive to the floor. And then Miyu Amasaki hits the Tenzai onto Yuna Mizumori. 14 minutes, 35 seconds. 3 3/4 stars. So Miyu Amasaki, after everybody in this match, she's the one that gets the big win here. She lost the day before against Starlight Kid. However, as we always say on this podcast, it's not how you lose, or not if you lose, it's how you lose. Even though she came out with the L, her stock went up in that match. She gets a big win here against not only Cosmic Angels, but like the A squad of Cosmic Angels. Again, Tam, former Wonder and World of Stardom champion. Natsupoi, former Goddess champion, former Artist champion, former High Speed champion. She's obviously in the main event match coming up in a few weeks against Saori Anou. Saori Anou, former Wonder champion, Goddess champion, Artist champion. Yuna Mizumori against somebody that I think she's going to win her side of the bracket and go on to the 5-star Grand Prix. You have all these stars in these matches. Not stars, the faction. You know what I mean. But it's Miyu Amasaki that gets the win here. So the Stardom booking has been, for some reason, people don't think it's been nowhere near as good as I do. Again, it's your opinion, but I think that you're wrong. I think the Stardom booking has been great. I don't think they're building Miyu Amasaki up just to build her up. I think they're building her up to probably get into that 5-star Grand Prix. So again, great match. The fact that it almost went 15 minutes, really good stuff. Again, 3 3/4 stars. If you're pressed for time, this is definitely one I would check out. Match number 7, we go to the main event. The Stars team of Mayu Iwatani, Koguma, Hazuki, Saida, defeating the Uedo-Tai team of Momo Watanabe, Natsuko Tora, Fukin Death, and Ruwaka, when Saida hitting a huge lariat onto Ruwaka at 16 minutes and 8 seconds. Match starts off with Fukin Death and Koguma. They exchange some comedy routine, and then they exchange some high-speed action. Hey, let's play the hits. Let's show us what we're good at. Really good stuff there. I thought that was fun. Eventually, we do get a really great exchange with Momo Watanabe and Saida. Them going back and forth with forearms, with kicks, with chops, probably the two big hard hitters in this match. I thought that was really good. Eventually, though, it breaks down, folks. It's the Oedo Tai style brawl. As we always say, Oedo Tai must always Oedo Tai. Eventually, we go back in the ring where Tora water missed Saida. That basically starts building up some heat. They cut the ring off onto the gorilla on Saida. Saida fires back onto Natsuko Tora with some chops. We do get the Stars quadruple teamwork here as they hit a 4-way dropkick onto Natsuko Tora. Hazuki comes in. She cleans house here, hits the big code breaker, and then the boot scrape to Natsuko Tora. We get Tomo, Momo, Tora, and Momo Watanabe, Team XL. They do some teamwork to cool down the red-hot Hazuki. We get Momo Watanabe with some violent kicks onto Hazuki. And folks, if you've never seen some of these Momo Watanabe versus Hazuki matches, boy howdy, you're missing out. They have, again, I know there's new listeners to this podcast, and welcome, and we know that there are new viewers to Stardom. They had a great match in 2018 for Momo Watanabe's Wonder of Stardom Championship. On night 2 of the World Climax from March of 2022, they have a great singles match, and they had a really underrated match that nobody really talks about as much as they should from the finals of the 2022 5-Star Grand Prix. Momo Watanabe and Hazuki have a rich, unsung history of violence. The fact that Hazuki does not have a big singles win over Momo Watanabe is something that I would love to see them build towards, as Hazuki is on the path to finally capture the Wonder of Stardom Championship. But their stuff here was terrific. Momo Watanabe gets the better of Hazuki on the exchange. That leads to Koguma coming in and helping out her tag partner. We get some FWC teamwork onto Momo Watanabe. Excellent stuff there. Hazuki locks Momo Watanabe into a crossface. Momo is able to, eventually gets broken up by the members of a Oedo Tai. Momo Watanabe hits a Samato onto Hazuki for a 2 count. We do see Koguma coming in, hit a running Koguma cutter onto Ruaka. Ruaka's able to come back. She hits a Fisherman's Buster onto Saida for a 2 count. She follows that up with a choke bomb. That scores her a 2 count. Eventually, of course, this all breaks down. Everybody's all over the place. We do get the FWC double dive that takes out all members of a Oedo Tai. Eventually, though, we do have Ruaka. She's in the corner. She's worse for wear. We do see the Freedom Rocket Launcher as Miyu Iwata almost caves in the chest of Ruaka. That sets up Saida with a huge sliding lariat to Ruaka for the 3 count. 16 minutes, 8 seconds. Best match of the show for me. 4 stars. Again, it's always great to see Momo Watanabe and Hazuki mixing it up with some violence. Folks, we go to the final show of this jam-packed weekend. This took place on July 14th, Sunday, in Maribara. 405 people. I do want to say, and I made mention this on the little solo episode I did for Marigold, that the shows on the 12th and 13th were live streamed. The show on the 14th probably wasn't going to go up until like Tuesday, Wednesday, because it takes 2 or 3 days to get it up. So I probably was not going to review it until next week. This show was up in less than 24 hours. So it's like, oh, I'll just watch it and review it for the Stardom Cast podcast. And folks, here we are. So kudos to Stardom. Not only are they giving us like 80% of the shows this month and 100% of the shows next month are going to be live streamed, but the ones so far that weren't live streamed that are VOD, they're up in like 24 hours, 36 hours, maybe even less than that. So you don't have to wait for some great wrestling action from our friends over at Stardom. Folks, as per usual, match number 1 starts off really hot with some main eventers. Cosmic Angels vs. Cosmic Angels as Saori Anou and Aya Sakura defeat the team of Natsupoi and Saka Kurora when Saori Anou is able to hit Saka Kurora with the Potter Ring. I don't have times for this show because they weren't posted just yet, so I apologize. But a great way to start this match. And again, we were kind of teasing Saori Anou and Natsupoi. Had Saori Anou, if she was successful the next day against Mika Iwata, which we will get into. So again, we were kind of building the blocks there. We get the 2 rookies, the 2 tag partners in Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora. They're off to a fast start. Sayaka Kurora hits a springboard arm drag. Natsupoi comes in and she hits her cartwheel arm drag onto Saori Anou. Eventually, though, or she hits both to Saori Anou and to Aya Sakura. So I thought that was really cool. Eventually, that leads to Natsupoi hitting the basement dropkick onto both Saori Anou and Aya Sakura. Saka Kurora locks in a rear naked choke here. onto Saori Anou. The crowd is really hot. Like 3 minutes in, the crowd is really hot. They pretty much stay there for the entire show. Again, kudos to Stardom starting these matches out with, again, a hot match or a match that has main eventers in it. Aya and Sayaka Kurora, they have a big form exchange. Aya hits a brutal kick to Sayaka Kurora. Saori Anou locks in the Mudo lock and a fisherman's suplex combination to both Natsupoi and Sayaka Kurora. Sayaka Kurora is able to use a rolling cradle that almost shocks Saori Anou, gets a 2.9 count there. Saori Anou is able to come back with the Insaguri and the, not the Insaguri, but with a forearm and the perfect plex, as I call it, for a 2 count. Natsupoi hits a super kick, which sets up Sayaka Kurora for a big spear onto Saori Anou for a 2 count. Saori Anou hits up the step-up Insaguri, and that leads to the Potter ring onto Sayaka Kurora for a 3 count. Boy, that's a lot of S's. Saori Anou, Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurora. Whew, I need a drink on that one. But I like how they took, like, obviously these 4 wrestlers are part of Cosmic Angels, but Saori Anou and Natsupoi are normally a team. Again, former Goddess of Stardom champions. And Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora, they're normally a tag team. Again, about 2 weeks ago, we did see them challenge for the New Blood Tag Championship. So all we did is we kind of split them up. Let's see how they do. This was great. 3 3/4 stars. A great way to start the show. And again, I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm a big fan of Stardom starting these matches off with a really hot match. Speaking of a hot match, boy howdy. Hazuki, Rion. This was great. I'm going to start right out from the bat. This is Rion's best performance, and Hazuki gave her a lot, especially towards the end. However, Hazuki made Rion earn it, which I love that. I absolutely love that. We get a good lockup to start. Always going to put that over, folks. Rion with some forearms. Hazuki makes her pay the price by giving her those forearms by just, beating her down with forearms, and then Hazuki hits the trademark face wash. I love how Hazuki, when she sets it up, she gets the crowd involved. Again, knowing what to do, when to do it. Hazuki's just a genius and just really the wrestling machine. Hazuki locks Rion in a really brutal tight crossface. Eventually, Rion gets to the corner. Hazuki comes in, tries to go corner to corner with that running elbow. Rion is able to quick think on her feet, hits a corner Rana, and then a series of drop kicks that scores a 2 count on Hazuki. Hazuki comes back with a stiff pump kick. Hazuki goes to the top rope, but misses a top rope senton. Rion then tries to roll up Hazuki a few times, scoring a 2.7, a 2.8, and a 2.9. So I like how we're building, we're getting closer and closer to the 3 count. She's building momentum on these roll-ups. Hazuki goes for another pump kick, but Rion ducks the pump kick and then rolls up Hazuki with the schoolgirl for a 2.9 count. I thought that was great. She is able to follow that up with a fisherman suplex that scores her another 2.9 count. Eventually, though, Hazuki locks in the crossface and then is able to transition the crossface into the Rings of Saturn. Again, this was brutal. She really had Rion bent back pretty bad in that Rings of Saturn, forcing the rookie to tap out. 3 3/4 stars. Great match. Rion really brought it here onto Hazuki. Hazuki really made her work for it, but Hazuki in the end really gave Rion, in my opinion, her best match and made her look like a credible star in the next few months, which I'm a big fan of Rion's improvements. She's only going to be improving by getting these type of matches with the main event wrestlers in Stardom, and then Hazuki then shook her hand and then basically put her over at the end of the match after the match was over. So I thought that was really good. Match number 3 had the team of Mei Seira and Starlight Kid defeat the EXV team of Waka and Xena when Starlight Kid hits the 619 to Waka, and she uses that, or then Mei uses that for the rolling shooting star onto Waka. Again, we saw Azumi with a La Mystica, sets up Mei Seira for the rolling shooting star, and now we have Starlight Kid. She can use the 619 to set up Mei Seira for the rolling / shooting star. So we already have lots of setups here, folks. We know Suzu Suzuki, she uses the German suplex to set up Mei Seira for the rolling / shooting star. So Miyu, I guess Miyu's the only one left, maybe one of the DDTs. So again, this new faction. We'll get into it here, folks, at the end, where we're basically going over all the really cool stuff going on with Stardom. This new faction is like the new supergroup that everybody's excited for. They were on the cover of Weekly Pro Wrestling magazine before they even finished the match. It's really interesting things. Again, a lot of people did not want to see Azumi leave Queen's Quest, Now everybody's all excited for this new look of Azumi and this new group that she's going to be in. Let's get to the match, shall we? Mei Seira and Xena off to a fast start. We have high-speed Xena here. High-speed violence. She's the most improved wrestler in wrestling. I don't know who's going to catch her in the last 4 or 5 months of this year, but boy howdy, she's so good. Tag wrestling, single wrestling, the hard hitting, the way she sells, the way that her psychology is, and now the fact that she is as crisp as she is in the ring, doing high-speed stuff with maybe the fastest wrestler in all of wrestling in Mei Seira. Really good stuff. Xena and Waka, really great teamwork on to Mei Seira. We see Mei Seira with a foot stomp and a blockbuster neckbreaker combination onto Xena. Starlight Kid and Mei Seira hit a double-team dropkick to Waka. Starlight Kid then hits a moonsault to Xena for a 2 count. Waka hits a high cross body to Starlight Kid. Boy, Waka, ever since coming back from injury, she's really brought it, hasn't she? I mean, it's not like she was a slouch to begin with, but like ever since she's been back these last few shows, she's like going for broke. The high cross body, Waka hits the high cross body on the Starlight Kid that scores her a 2 count. Waka hits the reverse X Factor onto Mei Seira, that scores her a 2 count. And then Starlight Kid hits Waka with a 619 that is able to set up Mei Seira for the rolling shooting star onto Waka for the 3 count. Again, folks, I'm just kind of going over the highlights here. 3.5 stars. Excellent stuff here. Again, Waka looked terrific. High-speed Xena. Sure, why not? I got no problem with that. Starlight Kid, Mei Seira, phenomenal as a team. Speaking of that new faction, O2 line, Azumi, Miyu, Amasaki, defeating the team of Lady C and Saki Kashima when Azumi is able to counter a chokeslam attempt from Lady C into a Hurricanrana pin attempt. We get, as soon as this match starts, we get some really good O2 line teamwork on the Saki Kashima. Lady C is able to turn the tables around with some brutal chops onto Miyu. Lady C locks in a triangle choke onto Miyu Amasaki. So we're getting a jiu-jitsu with Lady C here. Maybe she's training with Shuri and Konami. That's kind of their bag, the submissions. I got no problem with that. None whatsoever. Miyu Amasaki fires back on Lady C. Saki, Kashima, and Azumi trade near falls back and forth because they are just so good with these quick roll-ups. Lady C hits a double Russian leg sweep onto both members of O2 line and then quickly locks both Azumi and Miyu Amasaki in a double ab stretch. I thought that was really cool. Azumi's able to come back with a running PK penalty kick to Lady C. Lady C chops to Azumi. Eventually, Azumi fires back up, and we see Azumi and Lady C with a forearm trade-off. Lady C hits a big choke slam to Azumi for a 2 count. O2 line hit double team corner kicks to Lady C. Azumi then is able to come back with the flat back drop kick, also known as we call it, the Joshi drop kick for a 2 count. Lady C fires up, hits a running Yakuza kick onto Azumi. Azumi takes a big bump there. She goes for the second choke slam, but my Gorilla Monsoon reference of the show, she goes to the well once too often, as Azumi is able to counter the choke slam attempt into a Hurricanrana for the 3 count. 3.5 stars for me. We go to match number 5, as we did see the Oedo Tai team of Ruaka, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora defeating the Stars team of Mayu Iwatani, Momo Kogo, and Kogama when Ruaka is able to hit the double choke bomb onto Momo Kogo. I would say Momo Watanabe. She's not too many Momos. No, she's not hitting the double choke bomb onto her tag partner. Early heat on Momo Kogo to start this match. Kogama comes in for the save. Momo Watanabe comes in, cuts off Kogama. She's hit that brutal corner dropkick, the Kenta Katsuhori Shibata style brutal dropkick onto Kogama. Kogama then comes back with a cutter to Momo Watanabe. There's some really underrated chemistry there with Kogama and Momo Watanabe. They had some really good exchanges here. We've seen him have them really good exchanges in the past as well. Mayu hits a basement drop kick to Momo Watanabe. Eventually, though, we do see Momo Watanabe gets Mayu Iwatani in the crossface chicken wing. How many times has Mayu been in Momo's crossface chicken wing over the last 5 or 6 years? Probably quite a bit. Momo Kogo comes in on fire, hits a springboard dropkick to Ruaka. At this point, the crowd is really rallying behind Momo Kogo. After everybody in this match, you have Natsuko Tora, who is the number 1 contender for the red belt. Momo Watanabe, a main eventer since 2018. You have Mayu Iwatani, arguably the greatest women's wrestler of all time, one of the best wrestlers in all of wrestling in 2024. But who's everybody rallying behind? Momo Kogo. I like that. We're building new stars here. Eventually, though, we do get some... eventually, though, it is Ruaka hitting the Fisherman's Buster and the double choke bomb onto Momokogo. That puts Momokogo away. 3.5 stars for me. We go to match number 6, the co-main event of the show, as we have the EXV team of Mika and Xena defeating Cosmic Angels team of Tam Nakano and Yuna Mizumori when Mika pins Yuna Mizumori with the Michinoku driver. Folks, this was great. We start off with Tam and Mika exchange. Really good start, and they took their time to build towards it. We know that Tam Nakano did not lose the World of Stardom Championship. We know that Mika is holding the World of Stardom Championship, the belt that Tam never lost. So Tam, at any time, Stardom can pull the trigger. Any show, give her proper building. I never lost that belt. Let's do Tam and Mika. Tam is one of the early favorites as well to win the 5-star Grand Prix. Is that where we're going with this? Do we want to try to draw over 3,000 people in Sumo Hall at the end of the year? Tam and Mika is definitely a way to go. However, you can do it at any time. You can do it at Stardom X Stardom. You can do it at any one of these shows beginning next year. You can do it at the November pay-per-view, the Gold Rush. They do have the Gold Rush pay-per-view. Tam and Mika, we teased it here quite a bit. You know it's going to be awesome. You know it's going to sell tickets. You know it's going to sell pay-per-views. And they teased it a little bit here just in case if they're wondering what they had. Stardom, you have gold. Printing gold with a Tam and Mika World of Stardom Championship match. Hopefully we get it sometime soon. Xena, her striking is just so good. Forearms, the chops, the super kicks, the running boots. Really good stuff there. However, Yuna does the best Twisted Sister impersonation as she basically says, Xena, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to take it anymore, as she hits the rolling drop kick and then some big brutal chops. Tam comes in. She hits a perfect high cross body onto Xena. Tam just fires up on both members of EXV. She hits a reverse and a normal DDT onto both Mika and Xena. Tam hits a beautiful rolling elbow onto Mika that Mika sells perfectly here. Yuna hits a top rope tackle onto Mika for a 2 count. Mika is able to come back with a power slam sliding lariat combination onto Yuna. Eventually this breaks down. Everybody goes outside. Yuna hits a beautiful dive to the floor. Yuna's not known for that, but hey, I thought it was great. As Cosmic Angels team try to build their comeback, but eventually EXV were able to get some phenomenal double team work onto Yuna Mizumori. Xena then is able to isolate Tam long enough for Mika to hit the big finisher, the Michinoku driver, onto Yuna Mizumori for the 3 count. I have this at 4 stars. We go to the main event. Tag team match. The New Blood champions, Wing Gori, Han and Saida, versus the Stardom, Goddess of Stardom champions, Shuri and Konami, representing God's Eye. Non-title match. But boy howdy, folks, I hope they run this one back with a little bit more time and we do get a title match, because this was great. We get a test of strength to start with Konami and Saida. Konami and Shuri, they wind up hitting stereo kicks onto Saida. Shuri hit some really stiff kicks to Saida. Saya absolutely plows through Konami with this brutal shoulder tackle. Like, Saida was really channeling the Road Warriors in this match, because and lately with those shoulder tackles, because even though she's only like 5'2", she wrestles sometimes like she's 7'1", and you believe it, because she's such a badass. I love it. Hanan hits a 180 body press to both Konami and Shuri. I thought that was a really cool spot where basically Hanan gets up on the tag champs all in one move. We get some great judo versus jiu-jitsu exchanges with Hanan and Konami. We know Hanan has the judo background. We know Konami has the jiu-jitsu background. So really great grappling between the two. And we're seeing a meshing of the two styles of judo and jiu-jitsu, which I'm a huge fan of that. Great Wingori teamwork onto Shuri. I like that. Shuri is the only one in this match that has won the 5-star Grand Prix. She's the only one in this match that is a World of Stardom champion. So we know that she's the biggest threat in this match, where Han and Saida are able to do some teamwork to kind of break down this big main eventer and the former World of Stardom champion. I thought that was really great. Eventually, though, we do see Shuri and Konami lock in stereo arm bars to the New Blood champions in Wingora. I thought that was a really cool spot. Saida gets the rope. She fires up. Big chops to Shuri. Hanan hits a big dive to the floor. Eventually, Saida and Shuri, they get back into the ring. We do have a big shoulder tackle off the second rope from Ida to Shuri that scores her a 2 count. Saya Ida goes to put Shuri away with the Ida Buster. However, Shuri escapes the Ida Buster, is able to come up with a code breaker, and then Shuri goes for the Ruin. Saya Ida is able to escape the Ruin and rolls up Shuri for the Ida Bashi at a 2.9 count. Folks, I thought that was the finish. I didn't see the spoilers for this one, but I bid on that one. I thought that was the finish. Like, what a huge win that would have been for Saya Ida. Ida follows that up with a huge sliding lariat. She won the matches the 2 days before with sliding lariat, so I thought that was really cool. That scores her a 2 count. Ida really starts to fire up. However, it's just the striking of Shuri that is able to get Shuri back into that gear that she loves. Hits a brutal head kick. We do see Konami and Shuri hit stereo kicks onto Saya Ida. We do see then Konami is able to isolate Hanan. That allows Shuri to hit Saya Ida with the Ruin for the 3 count. Again, I like how 2 minutes prior she tried to go for it. She couldn't get it. Ida's able to counter that with not only counter by getting out, but is able to get the Ida Bashi that almost pulls off the biggest upset of the year and a big win for her. I thought this was really great stuff. I had it at 4 stars. Had this been stretched out 2 or 3 minutes more, probably went to 4.25, 4.5 stars. I would love to see these two run it back with the Goddess of Stardom Championship belts on the line. Excellent, excellent stuff. Folks, that's it for the Stardom shows. I did mention at the start of the show, about an hour or so ago, there's no Io and Kairi watch. However, we have loads more stuff to review. We're going to go to the July 3rd Catch the Wave tournament. Again, these are the matches that are on Stardom World. Rana Yagami defeats Chi-Chi with a cross arm breaker. We get some great technical wrestling to start between the two. Rana goes after Chi-Chi's arm. She locks in a cross arm breaker. Chi-Chi then works over Rana's knee by locking in a half Boston Crab. Rana then hits a big drop kick. We have a forearm trade-off. Rana fires up with some kicks. Eventually, Chi-Chi is able to come back with a running Yakuza kick and a spin kick combination for a 2 count. She then follows that up by hitting this beautiful exploder onto Rana Yagami. Rana is able to fire back with a leg lariat and then uses a leg trip that gets her back onto Chi-Chi's arm, and she's able to lock in the cross arm breaker for the tap out. I said 3.25 stars. I thought this was terrific. Rana Yagami, her improvement's just absolutely insane. Really is, and I'm really excited for her to be in the 5-star Grand Prix. Obviously, I wish it wasn't under the conditions that it is. Obviously, Ami sorry, good. We wish her a speedy recovery. Glad that she's getting herself taken care of and she's going to be healthy. Ami Sorry, I believe, was both. I know it was mine. I believe it was Rob as well. She was the breakout star of the tournament for both of us last year. We were really looking forward to what she can do with this year, but it turns out she's been wrestling with this injury for like over a year, which just goes to show you just her pain tolerance. But and again, I thought it was really cool for her to say, "Hey, I nominate Rana Yagami, my teammate in God's Eye, to take my place," and that's what's happening. And Rana Yagami's been looking great, not only these Catch the Wave matches, but these Stardom matches as well. So Rana is just really, really good. Again, I'm a big fan of that shoot style that she does. That obviously Shuri is teaching her the ways to go about it because she's ever improving. Folks, Sai Kamatani versus Risa Sera. Now, they did wrestle a few weeks earlier in this tournament. Risa Sera picking up the win here. I believe this was like the winner goes on to the, I don't know how the Catch the Wave tournament goes. The winner of this goes on to like the block final or the tournament final. But we have another match with Sai Kamatani and Risa Sera. This match quickly spills to the floor, which is not where Sai Kamatani wants to be. The only thing Sai Kamatani wants to do on the floor is hit that springboard plancha. That's it. Or if you're wrestling Tam, that insane Hurricane Rana to the floor that she hit Tam with like 2 years ago. This is Risa Sera's game, and we see it. She punishes Sai Kamatani with strikes. She locks in the pendulum. She then eventually uses the giant swing. She's just dominating Sai Kamatani these first 3 or 4 minutes of this match. Just dominating her forearms, knee strikes. Sai Kamatani's first big move of this match is that beautiful dropkick that she does. And then she winds up slowing Risa Sera down by locking her in a knee bar. Eventually, Risa Sera builds her momentum back up. She hits an air raid crash and a second rope double knee bomb that scores her a 2 count. Risa then locks in a high angle crab. And then from the high angle crab, she then deadlifts Sai Kamatani into a buckle bomb. That was really impressive. Seeing the fact of like how tall Sai Kamatani is, especially for like the Joshi scene, that was really impressive. She has that high angle crab and was like, this isn't gonna do it. Let me just pick her up and just throw her head first in the turnbuckle. That was super impressive. We eventually get an apron fight between Risa and Sai Kamatani. Eventually, though, Risa Seira wins the apron fight, drops Sai Kamatani. Sai Kamatani takes a bump on the apron, and then Risa Seira hits the double knee bomb while Sai Kamatani's on the apron. That was just brutal. Back to the crowd they go. Eventually, Risa Seira tries to hit the air raid crash through a table. Sai Kamatani gets the better of the exchange, is able to throw Risa Seira off the table onto the floor, and then Sai Kamatani hits a high crossbody off the table. She's just crazy. Risa Seira then, we go back in the ring. Risa Seira then hits the boxing forearms. What I mean by that, she hits the left, right, back and forth with these forearms. Just really, really has Sai Kamatani staggered. She has this beautiful sit-out DVD that she only gets a 1 count. And this is the brilliance that Sai Kamatani. Saya then fires up, and now the crowd is really rallying behind Sai Kamatani. Saya fires up, hits a spinning leg lariat. She goes to the top rope to try to hit the 450, the Fireburn Splash. However, we do see Risa Seira is able to cut off Sai Kamatani, hits a top rope air raid crash. That scores her a 2 count. We get some great near falls back and forth between both Saya and Risa Seira. Some brutal strikes as well. Eventually, Sai Kamatani gets the better of the strike exchange because she hits 3 different kick combinations that has Risa Seira reeling. Sai Kamatani, being the main eventer that she is, being the champion that she is able to put Risa Seira away with the Star Crusher. This was phenomenal. 4.25 stars for me. I would love to see Risa Seira back in Stardom on more of a full-time basis. Or give her the Suzuki, treatment that she got a year or so ago, or the Saori Anou treatment, where she can do the other indies, but her main focus is Stardom. And I know the Stardom roster is absolutely insane, so maybe if she comes in from time to time, she was terrific in these 2 matches. I'm a huge fan of Risa Seira. I just love what she's doing in the ring. I think she's just a terrific talent. We know that she can do the hardcore style, but one thing we have been able to see that she can really do the wrestling style, the hard-hitting style. Again, Rob and I, for your Patreon listeners, we did that alternate commentary of Risa Seira versus Mika. Match went 7 minutes, and it was great, from the 5-star Grand Prix back in 2022. Folks, just give me a second here and take a little water break, and we're going to get into this phenomenal Sendai Girls show. Well, not the whole show, just the matches as the Stardom wrestlers. Even though I did hear this whole show was great, I do have to go back and watch Jordynne Grace versus Chihiro Hashimoto, because some people were telling me that it was the show stealer. Considering the fact of how great these 2 Stardom matches were, or matches with the Stardom wrestlers, that's really saying something. So we go to Korakuen Hall, Monday, the 15th of July, Dash versus Momo Watanabe in a hardcore match. This was insane. And let's give Momo Watanabe her flowers. She's a great singles wrestler. Folks, she has a victory over Io Shirai. She won the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Finalist of the 2021 5-Star Grand Prix. Won the 2018 Cinderella Tournament. The second longest reigning as far as successful title defenses goes of that Wonder of Stardom Championship. Former Artist Champion. Former Goddess Champion. Momo Watanabe is fantastic. She's on a terrific run these last year and change. I mean, she's always been great, but ever since the 5-star last year, she's really kicked it up another notch. Even though she's supposed to be a heel, she's crazy over here in the United States of America. If you were at that show at the ECW Arena, that sold-out show at the ECW Arena, she probably got the second biggest babyface reaction, other than Mika, in that show. And then I was there at Forbidden Door. She was crazy over as a babyface with that hot New York crowd. Momo Watanabe, she can do it all. And apparently she can do the hardcore style because she was great in this match. We get a chair fight to start. Dash smashes a ladder over Momo's head. Match heads to the floor of Korakuen Hall, because of course it does. Tora and Ruaka, they wind up getting involved. Tora launches Dash through a row of chairs. The Uedo tie, we got a Uedo tie. But hey, it's hardcore, no rules. Momo then suplexes Dash onto a trash can. That scores her a 2 count. Momo, she uses a barbed wire baseball bat that she came down the ring with. She uses that to set up a running penalty kick for a 2 count, which is funny because considering the fact that she hit a barbed wire baseball bat, but the penalty kick is more devastating than the barbed wire baseball bat. I liked how they put that over just in that moveset. That was really, really cool. Momo Watanabe gets slammed through a ladder. Eventually, that ladder ricocheted and went back into Momo's head, busting Momo Watanabe on the back of the head. We did see, as this match was going, that we did see some blood coming out of Momo's head, and her hair went from purple to black to blonde to a little bit of red. All sorts of colors going on there for Momo. Momo, though, is unfazed by this. These two start brawling on the apron. Momo Watanabe then does a Uranagi off the apron through a table. Good lord. Momo with some brutal mid kicks, hits a buzzsaw kick and a punk kick. That scores her a 2 count. And then we see a B driver for a 2 count. Eventually, the two of them go up to the ladder. We do have a ladder fight back and forth. Momo gets suplexed off the ladder. Then Dash is able to dive off the ladder through a table that was onto the floor. That was absolutely insane. So not only is she, she's in the ring. Dash is in the ring, and she goes off a ladder and dives off the ladder, out of the ring, through a table, through the floor. And then I'm just absolutely insane. Just these bump these two ladies took. Eventually, we go back in the ring. We see some of the Sendai girls stack Momo Watanabe underneath about 400 chairs. Not really. But Dash hits this beautiful frog splash off the ladder that scores her a 3 count. 4 stars for me. I thought this was great. I'm more of a traditional style wrestler. But again, I grew up in the 90s. ECW from 96 until its closing in 2001. That was my jam. So I got no problem with some of this hardcore stuff. Sometimes some of it gets a little with the glass and the fires. Sometimes a little bit goes a little bit too far. This was just absolutely perfect. Here in Cork and Hall, they've seen some crazy brawls throughout the decades that building has hosted pro wrestling. So phenomenal stuff. Folks, we go to the main event of this show. Wonder of Stardom, Sendai Girls, double championship match. Mika Iwata trying to successfully make her first successful title defense of the white belt Wonder of Stardom championship against Saori Anou. Saori Anou, I thought this was great. Saori Anou came down to the ring, was flagged by all the members of Cosmic Angels. We saw Yuna, we saw Tam, we saw Natsupoi. We figured we have Natsupoi here because we knew Natsupoi is the next one in line for that Wonder of Stardom championship. We get a big lockup to start. Saori Anou hits an Iron Cross Northern Light suplex. Saori Anou then gets on top of Mika Iwata and hits some brutal mounted forearms. Saori Anou did not come to play, folks. She was here to get that belt back and get revenge on Mika Iwata. Mika Iwata hits a kick combo and that sends Saori Anou to the floor. Mika then follows up with an apron penalty kick. We get an apron fight back and forth between the two. Saori Anou wins that battle and she hits the perfect plex onto the apron. That was a really cool spot. Saori Anou then is able to follow up with a missile drop kick. Mika Iwata is able to come back with strikes. She uses the strikes to set up an armbar onto Saori Anou. We see Mika Iwata really breaking down Saori Anou's arm, forearming the arm, kicking the arm. I thought that was really, really good stuff. Saori Anou is able to get a little bit of a breather, hitting a beautiful release German suplex. However, Mika Iwata quickly fires back with a huge running knee, dropping Saori Anou. We get a forearm trade-off between the two. Anou is just, she can't win this forearm trade-off, so she decides to open up those hands and hit some open hand palm strikes or slaps, whatever you want to call them. And you can hear that ringing all throughout Cork and Hall. This place is going nuts. Saori Anou is just like stiffing the crap out of Mika Iwata with these stiff slaps. Iwata's had enough of that. She fires back with a super kick and drops Saori Anou. Mika Iwata then hits the kill shot, run up Insaguri for a 2 count. And then Saori Anou is able to come back. She hits an Insaguri, goes for the Potter ring. However, I'm getting ahead of myself. Saori Anou escapes the Orion, which I believe is her name for the cross-arm Michinoku driver, or Fire Thunder driver that she won the championship with. Saori Anou escapes that and is able to get the Potter ring for a 2 count. We do see then a German suplex exchange between the two. Saori Anou hits some stiff kicks. Then she really, really gets the momentum going. She hits the locomotion German suplexes. Not 1, not 2, but 3 onto Mika Iwata. She then hits the Tom Sandra for a 2 count. Saori Anou then places Mika Iwata on the corner of the apron and hits the Natsupoi Ferial Blink and then follows up with the Japanese Ocean suplex for the 3 count. As Saori Anou is able to regain the Wonder of Stardom Championship. 4.5 stars for me. I like the match of the conversion just a little bit better. Again, 4.5 stars to 4 3/4 stars match. Still matches you need to go out of the way to see. But if you remember at that match last month, Mika Iwata blitzes Anou at the end. She hits big move after big move after big move, and eventually she puts her away with that version of the Fire Thunder driver. Where here it's reversed. You see Anou hitting the 3 German suplexes, the Tom's Tundra, the Ferial Blink, and then the Japanese Ocean Cycle Suplex. So I thought it was really cool how Iwata blitzed Anou to win the belt, and Anou blitzes Iwata here in Cork and Hall to get the belt back. Saori Anou is only one of a handful of wrestlers to win the Wonder of Stardom championship twice. She joins people like Tam, people like Io. I mean, that is some really, really good company to win that championship match twice. And now, folks, we are ready to rock and roll. 27th of July, Natsupoi versus Saori Anou. Are we going to hot potato the belt again? I would say it's Natsupoi's time, but I don't know if they want to hot potato this Wonder of Stardom championship. I don't know. Obviously, Rob and I will preview that. I guess that'll be the preview next week. We're trucking along here as we're getting into the midst of summer. The midst of summer. All right, folks. Again, no Io and Kairi watch. I did watch, as much as Rob was making fun of me, I did watch the Momo Kogo's match in CMLL that happened a couple weeks ago, and all I'm going to say is Momo Kogo did a really good job in the match, and let's just leave it at that, as we are a positive podcast, and I'm obviously a huge fan of Momo Kogo, but this was some really good matches we've seen with the Stardom wrestlers outside of the Stardom ring. So, folks, let's go to the matches. Let's run down the card here for this weekend shows, and then the show in Cork and Hall. We go to Friday, the Sendai Pit. And if this is the way the card is, if this is what we're starting off with, I can't wait. Azumi versus Rana Yagami. Then we have a three-way dance with Mei Seira, Lady C, and Rian. Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki taking on the Cosmic Angels team of Yuna Mizumori and Aya Sakura. We do have Mina Shirakawa, Zina, and Waka Tsukiyama taking on Hazuki, Saida, Momo Kogo. We have the God's Eye trio of Shuri, Kunami, Saki Kashima taking on Oedo Tai of Momo Watanabe, Tekla, Fukin Death. The Work Rate Angels, oh, this is going to be great. Saori Anou, Tam Nakano, and Natsupoi taking on Miyu Iwatani, Hana, and Koguma. And then what is built as the main event, Mika and Sai Kamatani taking on the team of Natsuko Tora and Ruaka. So I'm just going to give my quick predictions here. I'm going to say Azumi gets the win over Rana Yagami. I'm going to say Mei Seira wins the three-way over Lady C and Rian. I'm going to say Starlight Kid, Miyu Amasaki defeat Yuna and Aya Sakura. I am going to say Mina, Zina, and Waka defeat Hazuki, Saida, and Momo Kogo. I'm going to say that Momo, Tekla, and Fukin Death, they defeat Saki Kashima, Konami, and Shuri to set them up for their tag title match that they're having just a few days afterwards. I'm going to say Work Rate Angels and Stars, the old TLD. And then I'm going to say Mika and Sai Kamatani defeat Tora and Ruaka. You figured you'd give Tora a win here, but then who does she beat? She's not going to pin Mika. She's not going to pin Sai. Ruaka is the one that's going to be eating the fall there. Then we go to, I thought these shows were Friday and Saturday. This is Friday and Sunday. We go to Sunday in Chiba. And again, folks, if this is the opener, Hana, Saida, Rana Yagami taking on Rina, Ruaka, and Azusa Inaba. Rian versus Yuna Mizumori. And then we have a high-speed four-way match of Sai Kamatani, Mei Seira, Natsupoi, and Fukin Death. Miyu Iwatani, the Stars team of Miyu Iwatani, Hazuki, Kagama, and Momo Kogo taking on Saki Kashima, Tomoka Inaba, Hina, and Lady C. So it's nice to see we get the Inaba sisters back here again. The EXV team of Mina Shirakawa, Zina, and Waka Tsukiyama taking on Saori Anou, Tam Nakano, Aya Sakura, and Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Miyu Amasaki in another 9-person 3-way tag dance. Stardom seems to love to do that. And then how about this team of Mika, Shuri, and Kunami taking on Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, and the returning Tekla. So again, let's go over predictions. I am going to say Rina, Ruaka, and Azusa Inaba defeat Hana, Saida, and Rana Yagami. Yuna Mizumori over Rian. I'm going to say Mei Seira wins that high-speed four-way, thus, giving her some more momentum into her high-speed championship match with Sai Kamatani. I'm going to say, let's go with, this is going to be a tough one here. I'm going to say, let's give Tomoka Inaba here win. Let's just say Saki Kashima, Tomoka Inaba, Hina, and Lady C defeat the Stars team of Miyu, Hazuki, Kagama, and Momo Kogo. And as far as this 9-person tag match, let's keep putting over Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Miyu Amasaki. Let's go there. And then let's say we got to get Tora a win here. I'm going to say Tora pins Konami in this match with Mika, Shuri, Konami, Tora, Momo, and Tekla. This way you're building up Momo and Tekla for their tag title match coming up on Tuesday, and you're building up Tora for her World of Stardom Championship match coming at the end of the month. Folks, Korakuen Hall. I tell you what, this is a loaded Korakuen Hall show. Boy, howdy. And again, from what I understand, this is going to be streamed live and in living color as it happens. Red Stars playing Waka Tsukiyama versus Sayaka Kurora. Red Stars playing Yuna versus Ruaka. Blue Stars playing Miyu Amasaki versus Aya Sakura. Blue Stars playing Lady C versus Momo Kogo. And then we have Mayu Iwata, Hazuki, Kagama, and Rian taking on Saki Kashima, Rani Yugami, Tomoka Inaba, and Hina. So basically Stars versus God's Eye. We do have the Suzu Suzuki return match. I'm excited for this one. Mina Shirakawa, Xena, and Hanako taking on Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Suzu Suzuki. That's going to be all sorts of great. Speaking of all sorts of great, New Blood Tag Team Championship match, Hana and Saida taking on Rina and Azusa Inaba. And this is kind of just a crazy, crazy pairing of a match. Listen to these teams. We do have Mika, Saori Anou, Tam Nakano, and Sai Kamatani taking on the team of Natsuka Tora, Fukin Death, Natsupoi, and Mei Seira. Again, that makes sense because you have Mika on one side, Tora on the other. You do have Tam Nakano on one side, Saori Anou on the other side, Sai Kamatani on one side, and Mei Seira on the other side. So you have the champions plus Tam versus the challengers plus Fukin Death. No disrespect, and I know Rob's going to give me crap for this. No disrespect, but you're kind of have, again, the champions plus Tam versus the challengers plus Fukin Death. No disrespect to the clown, but we're kind of pairing Fukin Death up with the beloved Tam Nakano, Twilight Dream herself. But still should be a good match. And then in the main event, Shuri and Konami taking on the team of Momo Watanabe and the returning Tekla from suspension. Let's go over predictions here. I'm going to say Waka over Saka Kurora. I'm going to say Yuna over Ruaka. That will set up a Yuna versus Waka final. Miyu Amasaki and Aya Sakura. I'm going to say Miyu. Lady C and Momo Kogo. I'm going to say Lady C. That's going to give us Miyu versus Lady C final. I am going to say the Stars team of Mayu, Hazuki Kagama, and Rian defeat Saki Kashima, Rani Yugami, Tomoka Inaba, and Hina. In 6-person tag match, Suzu Suzuki. Pardon me. I think she's going to get the win here over Hanako. You're not going to beat Suzu Suzuki on her return match. New Blood Tag Team Championship. I could be wrong on this one, but I'm going to say Han and Saida defeat Rina and Azusa Inaba. In this Champions vs. Challengers match, I just don't see Mika, Anu, Tam, or Sai Kamatani eating a fall here, especially when you have Fukin Death on the other side. I think she'll play her role well. I think there'll be several near falls with the roll-ups that she does, but I'm going to say the Champions plus Tam get the win here. And then Shuri and Konami taking on Momo Watanabe and Tekla. I'm going to say the champs retain. I just don't see Hot Potato just yet. I mean, we were playing Hot Potato quite a bit with these tag belts, but I don't see them losing just yet. However, folks, not that I want to get anybody to worry, but I did make mention in this same building just a handful of weeks ago, Shuri and Konami did win these belts over FWC, and it was Konami using a Oedo-Tai chair to knock Hazuki out and eventually locking her in the rear naked choke. Again, you're in the same building. Are we building towards Konami turn onto Shuri, Konami going back to a Oedo-Tai? I'm going to say no, but I'm only 60-40 on that. I would not be shocked if that's what we're doing here. And again, I like the team of Konami and Shuri. The one thing that, I wouldn't want them to break up, but at the same time, even less what I don't want is another quick tag turnaround. Momo Watanabe with the championship in Stardom, not going to say no to that. Tekla, she's, other than the Artist Championship, she's never won anything else in Stardom. She's red hot as a heel. So, really not sure where they're going with it. I can see it going to either. I don't see Momo and Tekla winning outright. Other than the usual interference from a Oedo-Tai. If Momo and Tekla are going to win the belts, it's going to be because Konami turns on Shuri. But again, my official prediction is that's not going to happen. Is Konami and Shuri are going to get the win here. I do want to talk quickly about the press conference. I talked about it a little bit at the start of this show. Tekla, because she's suspended, she sent in a video into Stardom, And obviously, we cannot repeat on the show, as we are a G-rated show. We cannot repeat what Tekla said on the video. I'm sure if you go on the social medias, you'll see that there. But I thought it was really cool how when they were showing, like, okay, here's the big championship matches we have coming up between now and the end of the month. We have Shuri and Konami versus Momo and Tekla. We had 3 of the 4 members of that match there. Tekla's not there because she's still under suspension, but she sent a video in where it was a lot of finger gesturing and a lot of words you can't say. And it reminded me of the Natsupoi and Tekla back and forth F-bombs that went back and forth with the two of them. It was about a year and a half ago. That was actually pretty entertaining. So, a press conference, really good. They did a good job building up Natsupoi and Saori Anou. Obviously, Mika and Natsuko Tora. That's going to be a really good match, especially with Saya Kamitani. On the outside, there's some speculation to Saya turn on Mika. I don't think so. They're building up Mika versus Saya. They're building up Mika and Tam. I just don't think you take the belt off Mika, at least until the end of the year, if not until next year, because she's drawing really well as champion. I mean, we saw how many people were at the Yokohama Buntai for her and Momo Watanabe. We saw the slew of shows that Stardom really wasn't drawing well, and then they put her and Xena on in the main event of the conversion. They did a great draw. She helped sell out the ECW arena in Philadelphia. Again, that building was sold out twice. It was sold out, and then they added more tickets, and they sold it out again. I just don't think you take the belt off Mika now. And I think the only 2 people that you would put on is if you continue to build up Saya Kamitani and then you build up Tam Nakano. But I don't think you take her I don't think you take the belt off Mika until after Santa Claus has left the chimney, if you know what I mean. Not until the end of the year, beginning of next year. That's what I would do. But it's going to be really interesting to see if Saya Kamitani is going to start trying to get some revenge on Oedo Tai because, and again, I'm going to get into these post-match promos before I wrap this up, but Mika wants Saya Kamitani in her corner for all these matches, so that's going to be really interesting. The big thing, obviously, though, coming off this press conference, and I mentioned at the beginning of the show, is Amisari. She's going to be out. Looks like she's getting ACL or MCL surgery. That's a surgery that usually takes some time to get back, so this isn't something she's going to be on the shelf for a couple of weeks. She's probably going to be out maybe 6-8 months, give or take. I believe Sayaka Kurora is off this weekend shows with an injury. So they said she's going to be off the shows this weekend, but she should be slated back for the Cork and Hall show, considering the fact she is in that tournament, to win herself a spot and earn herself a spot in this loaded 5-star Grand Prix. So obviously, again, I speak for myself and Rob and all the Stardom Cast fans and all the Stardom fans when we say, sorry, we wish you a speedy and healthy recovery. We will miss you. Please come back 100% when you're ready, because if you're wrestling that good while you're injured, boy howdy, the Stardom roster is in for a world of hurt when you come back. So, again, though, the fact that Ron Yugami is now in this tournament makes things really, really interesting. Obviously, we don't want anybody to get injured. Misori being injured, considering the fact that she was the breakout star of this tournament last year, in my opinion, and a lot of fans' opinions. We thought that she would just absolutely just crush this tournament. I think she was slated against Saya Kamitani in night 1, so that might be Saya and Rana now night 1. We'll see how it all shakes out. So yeah, that was basically the press conference. As far as I know, I didn't get a chance to see it, but I don't think anybody got thrown through a table. I don't think spaghetti got thrown at anybody. It was just a normal press conference. It really seems like since this new brash at Stardom took over, one thing they wanted is they didn't want any craziness at these press conferences. Sometimes it could be a good thing. Sometimes it's like, oh man, I want to see somebody get headbutted and split open hard way. But no, obviously we don't wish that on anybody. I do want to talk about some of these post-match promos. Again, backstage promos. And again, kudos to our friends that run the We Are Stardom English account, because they've been able to put up these post-match and backstage promos in English pretty quickly. So now, for us fans that don't speak Japanese, we get some context added onto these shows, which I think is really, really good and a huge plus for the Stardom fans, so we can kind of see where everything is going. We did have, again, Mika basically telling Saya Kamitani, Oedo Tai, they like to cheat. They like to cheat, so I need you in my corner for these matches. I need you in my corner for these matches. So she's going to be in her corner for the Natsuko Tora match. Again, Natsuko Tora, she's the one that's been driving Saya Kamitani insane for the last how many years. Basically almost put a death nail in Queen's Quest. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen here. My guess is there's some Oedo Tai interference, and it's basically Saya Kamitani that is able to run off all the members of Oedo Tai that eventually leads to the Michinoku driver to put down Natsuko Tora. Again, we will preview that show next week. And then Azumi basically told Starlight Kid, hey, I'm going to join your new faction. So We knew it was going to happen. You don't tease this if it's not going to happen. You don't put this on the cover of Weekly Pro Wrestling magazine. You don't take the photo before there's even a lockup in that match that we knew we were getting Suzu Suzuki, Mei Seira, Azumi, Starlight Kid, and Miyu Amasaki as a faction. And I believe Azumi said they're all coming back with like a fresh new look and like new gear and new theme. Which that's really cool, even though I'm a big fan of the Azumi theme. But at the same time, we're kind of rebuilding Azumi. We're doing something new with her, so that I understand. Obviously, she's not going to change her style because if it's not broke, don't fix it. And she's one of the best and most unique wrestlers in all the world. So excited to see what they're going to do there with that new team. Again, as me and Rob call them, SL May or 4XL, considering the fact that we've seen Suzu Suzuki, the great Suzu Suzuki, by the way, one of my favorite wrestlers, wear these like shirts that are like 4 times too big for her size. But at the same time, they're her shirts that she's wearing, so she's, in my opinion, maybe she's just trying to promote the brand and the t-shirt that is Suzu Suzuki. So that's just good marketing. From one marketing genius to the other, Suzu Suzuki, great job. Great job. Okay, folks, sorry, I had a good drink of water there. I think that's going to wrap it up. I think I got through everything. I mean, we talked about all the stuff going on at Marigold for the tag tournament, which I'm super excited for. Talked about all the interesting news coming out of Stardom. Talked about Mariah May just doing some insane stuff. We'll keep our eyes on that because, again, I think that's going to have Mina come in. Talked about the press conference. Talked about these 3 shows. So, folks, thanks for bearing with me. The fact that this is close to 2 hours here, it's not going to be the 2-hour mark, just makes me think that if Rob was here, this would have been a 3-hour plus episode, which I know you fans like. So the fact that I went here almost 2 hours by myself talking about my favorite subject in the world, pro wrestling, especially Stardom, especially how hot Stardom's been. I agree. Just awesome. And again, thanks for bearing with me, folks. We greatly appreciate your support. Really, really do. Folks, if you have not done so, please, it'll take all 30, 40 seconds. Go on to Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. Put a little comment in there. It could be something as great job or easy listening, something like that. It really just helps bump the algorithm out. Really helps us climb the charts in Apple Podcasts. And we've broken the top 100 in Apple Podcasts for wrestling a handful of times. Let's get there. Let's stay there. Let's do it together. Folks. Because I always say that, it's you. It's the fantastic listeners of this podcast that really help us out. But folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Questions, comments, anything that I can do for you. Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and or the Twitter is the best way to get a hold of me. If you want to shoot me an email, that's perfectly fine as well. The StardomCast22@gmail.com is the best way to get a hold of me via the email system. Like I said, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We appreciate your support. Can't do it without you because like I always say, and I mean it, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because when we're all together, everyone's different. Everyone's special.